Morning guys, and welcome back once again to I Like Watches. In today's video I'm going to be showing you the latest release by a Canadian micro brand called VanBanner, established in 2020, owned by LV. In a very short period of time, LV has produced a number of watches, all of which have sold out, apart from this one of course. This is the latest release. It's called the Adroit. It's a GMT dive style watch, 300 of these available. So if you're interested, keep watching. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the Adroit. But before I do that, I'm going to ask you to do me and this channel a solid by clicking that subscribe button, and you may want to hit on the bell notifications icon as well so you don't miss out on future uploads. And if you enjoy this video, perhaps consider liking it as well. Thank you guys for your wonderful support. Now, LV has sent me this watch for free. I don't charge for my reviews, and all I ever ask for is a watch to review and the freedom to say whatever I want. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do in this video. Now, this is the watch LV has sent me. It's one of two options available, this one and then an identical watch with a blue dial, and there's quite a few elements to this watch that you probably won't see on many other watches. So yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting review. Lots of little details to this watch that I think make it quite unique. Now, the keyword looking at the material on the website is cohesion or cohesiveness. I think LV has tried to create a GMT dive style watch that looks very cohesive. Lots of sort of unique original design elements that all come together to create a watch that works. And I think it does work, but it didn't work initially. When I first saw this watch, I wasn't completely convinced by the way it looks, but the more time I've spent with this watch, the more time I've looked at all the little details, it's working more and more as time goes by. Now, before I run through all of the elements to this watch that I think makes it a little bit different, I'm going to run through some of the standard stuff. It has the NH34 GMT movement in it, so you're familiar with that by now, surely. I'm not going to go into any more detail on the movement. It is a stainless steel watch. It doesn't look like it necessarily. It almost looks like titanium, doesn't it? But it is a stainless steel watch. Sapphire sandwich, I believe. I will test the crystals and confirm on the screen. Even if I don't show you the tests, I'll confirm whether or not that is sapphire front and back. 48 click bi-directional bezel, solid end links. I'm all over the place with the specifications, aren't I? Solid end links, solid links. A rather interesting and unusual bracelet, isn't it? I did unbox this watch on my second channel, I Like Watches too. And in that video, I spoke a little bit about the clasp. Great news, there are some oversized links that come with this bracelet. Look, this link, and there is another one that I've removed on the other side to get it to fit my wrist. That will allow you to get this watch to fit pretty much perfectly. That's basically like having a sort of micro adjustment system, and you need it because you've got a butterfly clasp, so there's no outer shell that you're able to adjust the length of the bracelet through. And yeah, having a butterfly clasp allows nice continuation of a bracelet, and I can see why LV has used a butterfly clasp. It's not a dive watch, although it looks a little bit like a dive watch when you're looking at it from the top down. It is a sports watch, 100 meters of water resistance, and with this bracelet, I guess LV wanted that continuation. So yeah, not my favourite, but at least on this occasion, you've got some longer links. Screw down case back, a pull push crown though. No need for a screw down crown on a 100 meter water resistant sports watch. Drilled lugs, which is nice. Quick release spring bars, double ended quick release spring bars on the bracelet. Look, no additional straps, and in the unboxing you will have noticed the packaging was very small and discreet, and that's a very conscious decision that LV has made to make the packaging not only small for storage purposes, but also more environmentally friendly. So yeah, this watch came in a fairly basic tin, but it's protected the watch well enough. So yeah, it's all that's needed, I guess. Right, I think that's all the fairly sort of standard stuff covered. Now let me talk to you about the rather unusual design elements to this watch. I mean, the bracelet is unusual, isn't it? You've got these double square polished elements or links towards the center of the bracelet, and the main portion of the links bead blasted. In fact, there's no brushing on this watch apart from the circular brushing on the bezel. Look, it's polished, bead blasted and brushed, which you just never see. I don't recall really seeing a watch finished like this. There's also some polished accents on the lugs. Look, I like the case shape, actually. It does look like a dive watch. Nice proportions. Yeah, good dimensions as well. I'll show you the dimensions and weight when I pop it on my wrist. Now, I'm not generally a fan of this sort of bead blasted or matte finish. You tend to see it a lot on titanium watches, and I prefer steel to titanium because we tend to get watches finished to a better standard when they're finished with steel. Titanium is a very difficult material to work with. So yeah, I'm not generally a fan of this finish, although I think it sort of works for this watch. Yeah, I think I probably would have preferred it to be brushed, but I get it. LV's trying to create something a little bit different, so why not? I've got to applaud that, really, haven't I? And one thing that is a little bit different that I'm not a massive fan of, absolutely, is I just don't like brand names on the sides of cases like this. It's not that obvious, actually. It's not too deep, and as you can see, you know, when you're sort of looking at the watch like this, it doesn't stick out too much. But yeah, I think I would prefer for that not to be there. The dial and the hands are a bit different as well. The dial is a sandwich dial. It's really quite rough and textured. You can see the openings allowing you to see the lume underneath, and the hands, the hour and the minute hands, look. A sort of matte grey, gunmetal grey finish, a splash of colour. Interesting lume on this watch as well. I'll show you the lume in a moment, and then I'll do a lume degradation clip at the end of the video as well, so we can see just how strong the lume is. But yeah, with that mix of finishing, bead blasting, brushing and polishing, and then sandwich dial, textured dial, unusual coloured hands, LV's definitely created something that looks very unique. Automatic as well, written in a slightly different way. VB under the 12, GMT above the 6. Legibility might be questionable given the colour on this particular watch anyway of the dial and the hands. But yeah, I do like the fact that LV has created something really quite different, because we've seen a lot of GMT watches recently from micro brands, and I think you do need to produce something a little bit different to stand out. Now, according to the listing on the website, this watch has 3 types of lume: Swiss Superluminova and a red and black Japanese lume on the bezel. So yeah, you can see when the light isn't switched off that the text on the bezel is black, but it's now lighting up with the UV torch, and that pip at the 12 o'clock is red during the day, and it's red as well when it's loomed up, look. So I don't expect the Japanese red and black lume to last particularly well, because coloured lumes just generally don't last very well. But the lume on the dial and the hands in particular, looks pretty strong, doesn't it? There's lume on the seconds hand as well, and lume on the GMT hand, so I don't think you'll have any problems using the time telling function and the GMT function through the night, although yeah, I just don't think that bezel's going to stay particularly bright for long, but we'll know more at the end of the video. And there's more Japanese lume on the crown. Nice. Right, let's have a little fiddle with the bezel then. It is a 48 click bi-directional bezel. Feels quite clunky. I don't know if you can hear that. Let me bring the watch closer to the microphone. They're not particularly crisp, are they? You can see the bezel sort of jumping quite aggressively from point to point. It's functional. It's not going to be a fun bezel to sort of fiddle with when you're wearing this watch, but still, it is a GMT watch with a GMT bezel, and the alignment, look, bang on. Nice. Right, here it is then on my roughly average sized wrist. Good size, good dimensions, good proportions. I wouldn't say it's an attractive, pretty watch, but it's definitely an interesting and unusual one, isn't it? That bracelet is definitely different, and the overall finish and look at the watch is certainly unique and original. The weight distribution is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's perfect, because butterfly clasps don't tend to have a lot of weight to them, and this is fairly chunky case and watch, so not top heavy, but you can just tell there's a little bit more weight perhaps in the top of the watch than there is underneath your wrist. So it's comfortable. I was able to get a perfect fit, of course, because of those slightly longer links that LV has thought to provide. Thank you, LV, for doing that. At the moment, $290, 239 British pounds, and 276 euros. Let me know what you think of that in the comments section. I think that's a fairly decent price, a very honest price for an NH34 powered GMT dive style watch made to this standard. The finishing is nice, albeit a sort of bead blasted matte finish. Yeah, it has been nicely done. Right, guys, let me know what you think of the review and the video. And please don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit that bell notifications icon. Thanks for watching, guys.